Previously on Pomo Bespoke, we designed the pattern for this monk strap shoes. Now we have cut out all of the leather uppers from the pattern pieces, and it is time for us to stitch up everything together. But first of all, let's have some coffee. By the way, if you live in Lagos and you like to drink coffee and you don't mind sharing a cup or two with me over a podcast, hit me in the comment section. The process of joining shoe uppers together is called closing, and closing begins with skiving. So let's skive. Now I just noticed I don't begin blow grammar again. I've been want to do this thing with complete pidgin. So na pidgin from now henceforth. So yeah, skiving. I have a full video on how to skive. There's no way of teaching you how to skive except for inspiring you English again. The only way if you learn how to skive now, if you yourself every single day practice am. I've been talk say I get full video on how to skive. If you check out that video, I no go fit promise you say if you watch that video you go learn how to skive. Oh, you go know learn the techniques, but it now depends on you. Make you go on your own, practice the things where you don't learn. Skiving now one of those things will be like prayer. If you know pray, you no go ever know how to pray. The only way to learn how to skive is to skive. Never skip skiving. Oh, you see all the nyama things where we come out from the skiving. So the next thing we will go do after our skiving na to close up these uppers. Translation na to gum the parts we need to they gum together like this front part. So the toe cap and the vamp we go gum them together, and then the quarter like this we go stitch them like this back to back. Then we go now flip them over again, and then that will be it. After we don't stitch the back of that place, we go use this strip like this, cover that stitch where we do, and then we go fold the top line so that we go get folded edge. So we don't stitch the toe cap to the vamp. This is not a stitching video, so I'm not going to show now many of the parts where they stitch. Now just where you need to stitch and some specific things where you go need to do after you don't stitch. So you see, say I stitch this one back to back. Now I go need to hammer this back seam way day like this, make it flat. And because of the way where this leather day, if I begin hammer and if it crack. So when you get leather way be like that, one of the things where you fit do now to apply small water. Just touch some water, make it soft small, then you go use the claw of your hammer them down, and then it go flat, and then you go use the normal face of your hammer, flatten them smoothly. Once you don't flat like this, you go take the shape, the curve of the last, and then we can now add our back strip. I don't rub gum for this back strip area. And then I also don't divide that back strip into two. Mark them out with pen like this. So that by following this line, wildly like this, slowly and gently like this, I can have an evenly separated two halves of the back strip. The only thing we remain to do now is to just hammer them in place, and then we'll go stitch them in like this. Ready? You don't finish. See that? Next, we're going to need to fold the top edge, aka the top line. So we'll fold them like this. It's actually the main reason why we skive that top line like that, so that we go fit fold them. Some people they add tape or some thread to keep that top line stiff. But the leather wire they use a very high quality stiff leather, and I don't think I need to tape up this top line. I go show you say even without taping them, it will maintain its shape and it won't stretch. So but before you begin fold the elbow there like that, you go need to cut small notches on top them. Then you apply your gum, and then you go ahead. Once the gum done dry, of course, you can now fold, and then everything will just be as it's supposed to be. So make we finish off this one, fold them, then you go see as it be. So to fold, you go just follow those lines where we mark from the pattern. Just follow them gently Then this elbow area like this, it dey help if you basically stretch them a bit and then fold them. Also know say that top strip, that's strip where we use divide the back seam, we skive the top of them so that it go dey easy for us to fold when we dey fold. So after we don't fold like this, it's wetin I dey use here. You can use a raw edge, but to give your work some finesse, some finishing touches, it's always good to fold this top line like this. After you don't fold them, you go just hammer everything in. You need to be very careful so that you maintain this your fold very, very straight. And this way you see that everything is as it's supposed to be. Straight line, gracious curves, and everything just dey very, very well. All right. Now, the facing part of this monk strap, I typically know they like fold them because of, sometimes the buckle strips, they dey very, very flimsy. So most times I dey like leave them raw, but even if you want leave them raw, you also need to treat the edges in some way. One way na to burn those edges, it will solidify it enough, burn out all of the leather hair follicles wey fit dey around that area. Just give it some extra finesse so that by the time you stitch, everything go dey fine as it's supposed to be. So this na the two parts of our monk strap. So now here this one go slot inside, and then now there that one go also slot inside. The next thing we go need to do now to add the lining. So now this lining, goat skin lining, this is actually Nigerian tanned goat skin lining. I love it. Make I drink small coffee first. So I've been telling about my Nigerian goat skin lining. Nothing else where they use again as per lining, for all my shoes, whether boots, shoes, anything. Nigerian goat skin lining now they use. This coffee sweet, man. I've been telling I say if any of una like coffee, I want start podcast for this my channel. So if you like coffee, you want follow me to discuss things wey concern shoes, hit me up in the comment section. Now make we get back to the lining. So watch as I trace the vamp part of this lining. So basically follow the sewed up vamp and toe cap. Follow them just the same way. The only thing be say for the top area, you go add some margin of error, really. And then the same thing where you go do for this quarter area, you go simply basically flip them over and trace out the entire pattern. So very important for the sides, these side corners like this, you have to leave enough space. Watch, you see, yeah, that line right there, that space, you have to leave it. The same on the other side as well. Then you go cut them out. So take note of all of the margin of errors that I left around the entire pattern, and then even on top of these ones, I also left just some margin of error. Next thing be say I go apply gum to this part where I rule so for the vamp part. So that part going upwards, going into the tongue. Now where I go apply my glue. So I go glue that one like this. And then for the quarter, take note of the parts where I go also apply glue. So basically I go apply glue all the way from here around this top line like so, and then all the way from there. So glue here, and glue there, right? Before we begin even apply the glue, make I just mark out where we go stitch. So we'll stitch around there up to here. When it's time for stitching, you go see meanwhile make we glue up this quarter. So apply it there. Just glue it along the line that you drew earlier on, and this is ready for stitching. So we'll stitch all around that part to the parts where we marked. Then for this side, we'd also glue up that tongue area. So let's see this in close up, right? So we glue this in place. So you see those marks that I made by the sides. So those marks indicate to us where our stitching will start and stop. So let's go to the sewing machine now. These white dots na body lotion where I apply around the edge just to lubricate the sewing machine along. So I basically stitch the top line of this monk strap, and then for the tongue area, you notice where I stitch just around the tongue area line. I didn't stitch it all the way around the perimeter of the entire thing. Then I'll basically trim out all of those excess margin of error leather that we left all around the linings. And having trimmed them out, everything is now ready for us to couple in both the vamp to the quarter. I don't think I will show you on the sewing machine how that is done. I basically just want to show you the process leading up to it. This video has started stretching very long. So note this mark. I basically measured about 3.5 cm into the elbow of the monk strap and then cut a notch into the lining like so. Trim out any excess that fell beyond the upper, and then did the same on the other side. So you measure out about 3.5 cm just before it begins to curve into the elbow, really. The reason why we are cutting that notch is so that we are able to flip over the rest of the lining and then stitch this quarter onto the vamp. So we cut that notch into the lining, really. And this way we can place and flip over that lining and place this entire thing on top of the vamp and have our stitching done without problem. And then the same thing would happen on the other side. So with that notch that we cut, you will notice that the lining stays away and then you can do your stitching on the uppers. But before we begin stitch the quarter to the vamp, let me just show you how I attached the buckles. So you use some kind of elastic. I ran out of elastic. I had to cut out a strip from elastic that I needed to do Chelsea boots. I just sewed one edge and then used it, improvised with it. So, you cut a hole just around at that point where you made a point on your pattern so that to indicate to yourself where the buckle should lie on the pattern. So that's the part where you cut some kind of a notch into the upper leather, add your elastic into its buckle, and then maybe using a scissors or any pointy thing, you can just, force your elastic in, drag it into the upper, then flip it over. I like to bend it, flip it in two leaves, right? So that it doesn't create such a bulk on my upper leather. And then, add some tacking glue on both sides. And with that glue, you can actually tack it down onto the upper. And because of, again, this notch that we cut into the lining, you notice that when it is all set, we can actually bring the lining down, and that it would hold the elastic in place and it won't even be visible from the inside of the shoe. So the inside of the shoe will remain clean and nobody will see all of the mechanics and underlying back end job that was done. But let's apply glue all around these parts and begin to prepare ourselves to couple everything together. So maybe just scratch some of these areas where we have our stitching allowance on the vamp. So do some scratch on it. Be careful not to uh, overshoot the stitching allowance line when you're scratching. You might just put some scratch on your leather that would remain visible. So you have to be very careful when you are adding that scratch. So apply glue to these areas. Now let's relax this in place. I think there's too much excess elastic, so you can relax that in place. And you see, by the time we bring down our lining, it covers it up excellently. So we'll fix this in place like so, and then we will stitch. Again, because of that notch that we cut into the lining, we are able to flip the lining over. It will be out of our way when we are stitching this upper together. So we'll stitch the upper together and then we can come back and glue the lining in place. So this is what it looks like after I had done all the stitching. You notice that the buckle on this side is already in place. What remains to be done is to add the buckle for that one. You see that I cut a notch there. I can actually punch a little bit of hole and it will go into the upper itself. I'll use the same buckle and the same elastic, slot it inside, add it, and then the buckle can go in there, and then the lining again will cover it, and that elastic will not be visible even if you are looking from the inside of the shoe. So you guys try that out. I noticed that I ran out of buckles. The buckles are actually in my workshop and it is quite late. I don't want to start going to the workshop just to pick up buckles. So you guys check those out and let me know if you have any questions in the comment sections. And then if you are making this shoe along with me, I'd like to see videos or pictures of it. So you can send that if you are in the WhatsApp group or in the Telegram group. Until I see you guys next time, God bless you. Have a good one. Peace.